Hi everyone, Raphael Harry here, and you're listening to White Label American, a podcast where we hear stories from an immigrant or two, sometimes more. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Hi everybody, thank you for joining us today for another episode of White Label American. We appreciate the love and support that you've been giving us, and special shout out to our Patreons, Sarah Aruna, Jeff Schumacher, Kennedy James, Daniel Perez, and Mark Butler. We appreciate you all, and special thanks for the love and support that you've given us in taking this podcast to the next level. How I found today's guest is without my daughter, I wouldn't know today's guest. And, since I had my daughter, within the first 6 months to before she hit her second year, I was on a lot of YouTube watching music, just hitting out with music from everywhere. And I first started with the Afro beats and the usual old school Nigerian, and then YouTube decided to do their own thing and just hit me with everything. And then she started reacting to a lot of Boiler Room DJs and concerts from Boiler Room. And when the pandemic hit, one day there was this performance that was going on, and it was today's guest who was performing, and he was reading poetry. And I was like, oh, Boiler Room does poetry? All right. And my daughter was calm. She didn't react. So I was like, okay, she's not reacting, so I can enjoy this performance. And that's how I got to meet today's guest, Joshua Idehen. I didn't lose my Benin card there. I've been losing my touch with Benin. So, yeah. So I got to watch the whole performance. And after that, I looked into him. I saw that Joshua Idehen is a poet, a workshop facilitator, musician, and founder of a renowned poetry music magazine, Po Jazzy. And as a poet, he has performed at major music festivals and appeared on anthologies alongside Linton Kwesi Johnson. As a musician, he works in 3 bands, and he will tell us how he does that, because that's fascinating to me. Benin City, Hugh, and with an electro dub outfit, which my daughter can't stop. Anytime I play it, she just dances. But now she's no longer into that adult music phase. But when she used to love LV a lot. I love it now. So it's all my stuff. So only on my phone I can play it. I can't play it on TV anymore. So Joshua also plays music that's inspired by Black cinema. And Joshua is also an all-round creative who isn't limited to poetry and music. But a lot of what we'll be talking about today is based on poetry and music, because that's how I came to know him. So welcome on the show, Joshua. How body? How you day?
Body day fine. We just did do our own. You get me? We just did try for this place in Jesus' name. No enemy, no weapon fashioned against us shall prosper. And me, Niger make it to December.
So some of my Nigerians will say, hey, Raf went and found somebody who is not, hey,
my friend,
finally.
My friend, Niger for December, no SARS for our area, for our road, for our pathway, no roadblock. Can I swear, by the way?
Oh yes, it's
fucking roadblock in our road.
This podcast is tailored to any guest. If you want to swear, you swear. If you don't want to, do blood of Jesus, you do blood of Jesus.
We have in the blood of Jesus. We have made it to the last month of this year, and we will see 2021 with bright flying colors.
Damn right.
In Jesus' name, amen. Inshallah.
Me.
Hey. Thank you very much for inviting me. We have done a dance between us. Email dance.
Oh yes. The pleasure is all mine. The honor is all mine. So let's begin with the first question. You were born in the UK, and at the same time, you are connected to the ancient kingdom of Benin City. So can you introduce the audience to where you were born and how you're related to Benin City?
Okay, cool. So I was born Ehiwema, Joshua Idehen, in Hackney, East London. And then my father, Idehen, he was one of the kids of one of the chiefs in in Benin City. Because you know, like the Oba of Benin, he has all of these chiefs, and all the chiefs are very rich. Now, my granddad, he was how can I say this? He was a typical Nigerian Benin chief in the sense that he had a lot of wives. And a lot of
my grandfather too.
Even hey, you know, hey. Why one get one free? Hey.
Only that my grandfather took it to another level. He went to
Buffet. Amazon, collect. I can't stop it. He had a lot of wives. So that meant so by that effect, he had a lot of kids. And so when he died, the man did not leave a will. So even though he had a lot of
that would have been a surprise if he did.
You know what I'm saying? My history is a Nollywood movie in effect. So obviously when he died, my dad was in the beginning of building a life in England. He had gone through kind of like any kind of African living in the UK goes through. Like he was he had studied to be an engineer, dealing with the mixture of racism and racial curiosity. Experienced a weird phenomenon where every single person he trained ended up being promoted to becoming his boss and moving on while he stayed in the same place. So with our grandfather kind of died at the right time. And his siblings on his mom's side called him up and were like, yo, we're sitting on the only piece of land that we've got for you. So you better come down. And with everything that he was dealing with in the UK, all of the kind of discrimination and just the limited opportunities, he went back to Nigeria, 1984, and he took me and my brother back. Now, when he got there, at the time, my dad was a massive hoarder of video cassettes. So, I mean, if you remember, like back in the 80s, you look like you're my age, so you probably know this. Back in the 80s in Nigeria, there were several signs of status amongst the Benin people. And I think probably everywhere. Your house, car, and if you can't have the two, television. And then obviously there are levels of television. People forget this, but I remember there used to be TVs that had they didn't have buttons, they had those knobs you had to turn.
Knobs.
So you had all those black and white knobs that turn, and you had a lot of them that had like remote controls that were connected by a wire to the TV. And there were two forms of video cassettes. You had VHS and Betamax. Now my dad had recorded pretty much.
We had VHS.
Yeah, my dad had recorded almost. Yeah, you thought you were getting a short story, but hey.
Hey, we are here for it.
Yeah, my dad had recorded almost everything of television. He recorded Knight Rider, Scooby-Doo, He-Man, if he could lay his hands on A-Team. So he had literally like a trailer full. I remember my mom used to complain about like, get rid of all of these tapes. So when he arrived in Nigeria, thinking about what he was going to do with his life, he realized that there was a huge gap. Most families, they would have a cassette and they have a TV as status symbol, but they didn't really have that much to watch because they didn't have that many films. Yeah. So he started Benin City's first video rental store called Soundview Electronics. Yeah. And that was the first, I mean, obviously that just became like a library for films. That just became an incredible thing. People just, flooded it and he was making money hand over fist. But the second smart thing he did was the local channel, which was their EBS, originally it was Bendel State Television.
Yeah, BBS.
And then it spun off to become EBS when the state split. So BBS had contacted them because they were always showing, I think, the same 10 or 20 films every evening after news. So they wanted some more films. So they went up to my dad. And they offered my dad such little money. My dad said, you know what? Okay, keep the money. Show my films for free. Any film I give you, show it for free. But what my dad then did was, inside the film, because my dad, he had several Commodore 64s. And he had, he got like a paint program for Commodore 64 that allowed you could create like a painting, and then you could play the painting so everyone could see how the painting was being made, like a video. So what he did was, every time he gave a film to EBS, he spliced in the film the painting of the word, this film was given to you by Soundview Electronics rental. So effectively, he never had to pay for advertising.
Yeah.
And every single film, every time they watched a big action movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, they saw a little painting. And that just for all of the 80s, my dad made so much money, and he was so famous. One time when my dad got robbed on the street by armed robbers, because my dad had Soundview written on his car. He had a Peugeot 504, and he had Soundview written on it, and he was in the dark. So the armed robbers had thrown a stone, and he had tried to swerve, and they came out with guns, and they were like, yeah. And then one of them he stood there, and then he looked back, he was like, "Are you Soundview?" And my dad was like, "Yes." Man, next week you got to show some big film, yeah? Big film. I'm sorry, Terminator 2, yeah? My dad's like, "I will show Terminator 2. You still want the money?" I'm like, no, we've taken enough. You just keep going. So yeah, I ended up, my dad was making a huge amount of money. And so I ended up kind of like spending my formative years between 84 to 99 in Nigeria. And when Sani Abacha died, around that time, my parents decided that it was good for me to at least get a foreign education. And I decided, I'll get a foreign education in poetry.
Wow.
Yeah, you can imagine my parents is like, I'm going to study for England. He's going to study to become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. And I'm like, Daddy, I'm going to become Puff Daddy, but poor. Poor Daddy.
Even saying Puff Daddy is still that's still like, I bind you in blood in the name of Jesus. I bind you in the name of
You know, you're thinking Puff Daddy. Are you going to bring Puff Daddy money? No, Daddy is Poor Daddy. You understand? Poor Daddy. That's my poetry name. I want to temper expectations very hard. So nobody's going into this expecting Joshua to come with a Bentley after he has finished his sonnets. Not like that. No.
Wow. So, the funny thing, what school did you attend while you were in Benin?
Oh, God. So only two, actually. I went to Federal Staff School from my primary and secondary school.
Oh, so UDSS.
No. Federal Staff School for my primary. So kindergarten and primary was Federal Staff School. So all the way to, I don't know which class again. And then I went straight from that to what's it called, Igbenedion.
Oh, okay. So we used to think of people like you as snobs.
Hey,
because you and I were in Benin around the same time.
I was a fucking snob. You fucking plebs going to all them fucking government-funded schools. Your boarding houses had no conflicts. You don't have any milk in the morning. Your uniforms are all gray and brown. Yes. Your classes have rats and lizards. Don't talk to me. Don't discuss with me. I was proud to be a snob. When I tell people I'm a Benedion, they're like, look at him. He's rich.
We used to hate. I remember when the Benedion started, we used to hate on the Benedion because I moved to Benin 86. I was in Jos, then I arrived in Benin around 86, stayed at Water Resources. So I thought I was like high and mighty, and then reality struck, and then we moved down. But we stayed in GRA most of the time, and then Boundary.
You stayed in GRA?
Yeah, I stayed in GRA. All my time in Benin was GRA.
See, this is the thing I've always said, like, however you are looking at people, people are looking at you. Because I was in Fredogbe Street looking at GRA people going, you snobs, you dirty snobs, with your dirty money and your dirty gates. You are coming here, talking, looking down on us. And then you go to school and then suddenly everything flip around. So, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because primary school, I was in Army Brigade by close to Ebenezer Primary School. And then I went to Word of Faith for GSS. Then after GSS, that's when I left.
My brother went to Word of Faith. I think he went for SS.
Oh, SS. He will probably know people that know, because I know your last name, because that's quite a common name too. So, but I was
no. Idehen is kind of like, it's like Smith or Johansson. It's like a really popular name. It's like, oh my God, hey Josh, we found someone else called Idehen. No, I don't know him. I don't know him.
No.
My grandfather had a lot of wives and a lot of kids. I don't know him.
It's like somebody saying, I know Idausa. I went to Idausa school. His children were in my school. That doesn't mean I know every Idausa because there was an Idausa in my class and he wasn't related to Benson Idausa.
You know what I'm saying? My school teacher, what's he called in class? He was, what's he called? He knew someone who was Idehen, and he was like, do you know Charles Idehen? I was like, no. Are you sure? No, I don't. Why would I know that? Why? Do you know how big our Christmas parties are?
Yeah. I mean,
one time in our Christmas party, I tried to hit on a girl, and the girl was like, are you Idehen? She was like, yeah. We said, we can't. I was like, but I don't even know you. She was like, yes, but I know you. Is there anyone in this party who I'm not related?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when I moved to Port Harcourt later on, and I was like, okay, yeah, now I'm around my people. Then the last name, oh, you're a Harry. So are you from Abonima? I said no, but every Harry is from Abonima. I said no, I'm from Bayelsa. But every Harry is from River State. I said no, but my family was Harry. We are from Bayelsa. I'm like,
what about Dirty Harry? Where is Dirty Harry from?
That became an issue. Like even in America now, every time I meet my fellow job people, the first thing is, are you from River State? I said, no, I'm not from River State. Because the largest Harry clan is from Abonima, so it's like automatic. I'm from
automatically, they just
I'm like, don't even get me started with the last name. It's only when I meet the non-Niger Deltans, they're like, how your last name Harry? What happened? I'm like, what do you mean, what happened? You asked Goodluck Jonathan what happened, that his last name is Jonathan. When he asked him that question, he come and ask me, what happened? My last name is. Go to River State and ask them, how many Harrys are there?
I know.
Oh, man. So it's just crazy how probably we probably may have crossed each other's paths one of those days, and I was like, man, fuck these guys. Well, we'll be like, fuck these guys. Oh man, teenage angst. So did you ever go to Queens when Queens was open, the video game store in GRA, the first video game store?
Dude, mate, you want to talk video games? Like, basically, I got into video games proper when they were like video game stores. In fact, I tried to get my dad to get on it, and it really pisses me off because my dad was. If there's one thing I've taken from my dad, is his level of competition and his refusal to kind of like take on any idea that doesn't really come from him. Like, those are my two biggest vices, and I got it from my dad. Because I told my dad, check the story, right? Mm-hmm. People didn't have video games. It was like the same thing was happening again. People were into video games. People didn't have video games. So what happened? They opened all these video game rental stores where you went in and you paid 20 naira and you played like Street Fighter or whatever for 30 minutes. So we had missed the Super Nintendo. Yeah, we missed Super Nintendo. We missed PlayStation. Nintendo 64 just come out. I had pushed my dad that we should do it. My dad said no. So I pushed my mom. My mom, thankfully, didn't know what she was doing. She just went, he said Nintendo 64. Which game will I buy? Let me buy Mario Kart. And I don't know which game I want. I asked for Turok. My mom was like, I don't know which one she liked. Oh, James Bond. My husband has all these James Bond films. Joshua likes James Bond films. Let me pick James Bond. She picked GoldenEye 64. So I had GoldenEye 64, I tried to start a rental thing. My dad made me put it at the back of his store where no one could find it. So it lasted 2 days before we had to take it home. My mom said, you know what? You tried, it didn't work. My dad was like, haha, you tried, it didn't work. So I was like, okay, cool. I tried, it didn't work. Let me sit on my idea. I played GoldenEye and Mario Kart like to hell because we suddenly realized that not only was the game fun, it was fun multiplayer, like 4-player GoldenEye, deathmatch, everybody shooting. But we were bored with it. So we took it to one of those video game rental spaces and we were like, okay, give us Super Mario 64, take GoldenEye. So he took GoldenEye, was like, which one is this? I like, it's a James Bond game. You can play multiplayer, shoot each other, see how you feel. We played Mario. Originally, I had to fight him to get Mario off him. I had to fight this guy to get Mario off him. When I called him, when I came over and I said, yo, you've what's it called? You said I can only hold it for a week. Here you go. Let me get my good night. He was like, you know what? Could you give me an extra week? You can have it for another week. So I was like, okay, cool. Because I wanted to play Mario some more. So I played Mario for an extra week. When I came back the second week, my dude had bought 8 Nintendo 64s, 8 copies of GoldenEye, because it exploded. Like, instead of just getting because he was charging per part. So you pay 20 naira per part. So 4 people, 1 Nintendo 64, that's 80 naira per 20 minutes he was getting, because everybody wanted to play that. You choose Jaws, Odd Job, James Bond, Roger Moore, whatever. I'm there just looking, going, this is what I could have done.
Wow.
This is what I could have done. Yeah, it was. And obviously, after GoldenEye became big, then wrestling became big, then Tekken 3 became big, so PlayStation came back, and then there was Gran Turismo. But yeah, that was a real waking moment for me, because I was just there just going like, wow, this could have been, because we had GoldenEye way before everybody else, and we had 4 parts. So we could have been the one place, at least for 6 months, where everyone was just like, I want to play GoldenEye. But yeah,
Yeah, I was one of those kids who you wouldn't find me I had because I was in a very religious household, and I was hardly allowed to go out. So once school closed, that 30 minutes window, once school closed, you run out as soon as possible, get to Queens, deposit your money, play for 30 minutes. They run home.
I'm telling you, man, my mom was the same thing. In fact, right, a lot of my independence came when my mom and father were estranged. Because my dad, he at one point, two of them were fighting, because my dad was a philanderer, and my mom was obviously didn't like any of that. So they had big fights, and then my mom left. So there was this whole period where my dad was just like, your mom's not staying in the house. Do whatever you want. So me, after school, because when I was in senior secondary school, I went from, I just didn't go home. I just go on Okada, drove down, paid the man 20 naira. That was I would spend out sometimes, actually at one point, right? Because it turned out the guy who used to the rental place, it might have been Queens, I'm just thinking, my brain is going, is it Queens?
Queens was in GRA on Adesua Road.
I think it was that one.
Junction. Was
it the one where there was originally there was one guy, there was one guy who used to run it, and that guy was a dickhead. He was such an arsehole. He used to piss everybody off, and then the owner had him kicked out, and he did it himself. This was an older guy, and he was really into video games. He made it very cool.
That guy, they used to sell ice cream down on the ground floor. It was a 3-story.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, it was on the top step floor. The man had that was the place. I was the one who gave him GoldenEye, and he just
really?
No, mate. That place was at one point.
Money.
Mate. At one point, right? Because I didn't have a lot of money. So what I used to do was I could pick up any film from my dad's rental place. And the guy who owned Queens was really into films. So he'd be like, he would let me play any 3 games for as long as I want if I bring him movies that he can watch.
Wow.
And then I just ran the guy a line of credit. He'd be like, have you got this film? I'd be like, yeah, we got this film, I come 10 films. I just put it there, and he'd be like, oh yeah, pick your film. God, I must have mastered, because you only played fighting games when you were there. At least I only played fighting games.
That was the most popular thing for us, fighting games.
Yeah, man. I mastered Tekken when I was there. I played Tekken 3. I played, I played first PlayStation there, first Saturn. Oh God, I played Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Sometimes I borrowed games. Yeah, man, that was big. That was such a big thing back then, and it really did kind of tear into me that my dad didn't believe in it.
So were you one of those guys who, because there were guys who mastered the games, and when people like us who never mastered games were struggling or getting beat, those guys would come and say, "Hey, let me help you beat this guy. Let me help you beat this guy. Don't worry, I got you." So were you one of those guys that helped us to beat somebody, but they would end up playing our game for the whole session?
No, I'll tell you, I used to, there used to be a period where I would just stay there and watch other people and try and see if I can beg a game or whatever. But most times I just came in and I was like, I'll have a bag full of films. I'll be like, yo, I want to play Mortal Kombat for 2 hours or whatever. So really, I only hung out with the same group of people. you know, and like, oh, these are the kids who are really good at Tekken, and we just played Tekken back to back. Anybody who joined us, I didn't know how to play. They only got one match. Like, mate, no, you did not want to mess with my Jack, man. My Jack to hey, and then Ultimate Mortal Kombat, fucking hell.
Oh,
like Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, GoldenEye, yeah, man, that was my team. Those were my days.
After I left Benin, and because I moved to Ibadan, there were no video game stores around me, and I was in a house that there was no video games. The economic situation changed, so that's how my video game culture just died. I recovered that. Even when I had access to video games, I joined the Navy. My roommate gave me all his Xbox and his games. I played for like 2 rounds. I was like, I'm getting frustrated. I throw my game at the screen. I'm like, I'm not playing. What's this? I'm an adult now. Get out of here.
I'm slowly getting there, you know. I've got my oh, yeah.
It was Queens when I was in Benin, Queens. Because I actually was 2 houses away from Queens. The lady who sold meat pie and a bunch of snacks and made bread, the bakery. Her daughter and myself were classmates from primary school age, nursery school. Actually, I've known that girl since nursery school. And I know the whole family. I've forgotten their last name, but they're Benin people too. So I've known them for a long time. And so sometimes her elder brother, I'll go meet him like, I want to play games at Queens. So we all had a community. Like even the day, like our school, Word of Faith, Greater Tomorrow, and Lydia. Those 3 schools, you know, they actually got police to raid Queens once because the students weren't coming to school. The boys weren't coming to school. They took their school fees to go pay Queens.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. How many games is that, man? That's not even, I'm sorry, bro. What are you going? No, that don't make no sense.
When Queens started, that Queens policy, like if it was during school period, you couldn't show up in school uniform after that police raid. Because I remember my classmate jumped from the top of the top of the building and landed on the ice cream place down on the roof and took off. That's how he escaped. Yeah, they brought plainclothes policemen. The 3 schools combined and hired police to come and raid the place. So they changed their policy that you couldn't show up in school uniforms until after schools had closed. So after 2 p.m., that's when you could show up in school uniforms to play. Because of that the schools were complaining like, we're losing our money. You guys are taking our money. Come on, bring the money here. Public schools didn't have a problem because public schools were supposed to be government for public schools or were free or whatever. Public schools couldn't complain. But private schools were like, hell no, you can't be taking our money. What kind of business is this? You gonna take our money?
That's just mad. That's just mad. Like, how you spend the whole school fees at Queens, man? That don't make no sense.
Yeah, man. We hadn't seen video games. We hadn't. You know, how many of us had video games in our house? It was like.
But, I mean, that's it was so cheap, man. It was like it was because even on the street where I was, Frederick Street, we had like about 3 of them. One of them had a PlayStation. One of them, I mean. What it's like? What do you want to see? You pay what's it called? The most you pay 100 naira, you can play it for a night.
Yeah, but it took a while for that. You know, after it became common, you know, that fraud when Queens started, that was the craze. That's why we all ran from school. As soon as school closed, the fastest runner of our group was giving all the money. Go there and secure a TV. And the rest of us we capture. Now it sounds stupid when we talk about it.
You know what? But one thing we used to do here is like you sit behind someone, like someone's playing like what's it called, the Mortal Kombat trilogy. You sit or Tekken. You sit behind them, and you're like, yo, can I play? And they be like, no. You'd be like, yo, can I play? And I bet, can I play? They're like, no. I'm playing with my friend. I'm playing like, let's just play 4 of us. Let's just play. Now let's just play. Like, no. And then when they're time, because the TV goes off, the TV's on a timer, isn't it? Yeah. And the TV goes off, and then they get up, and then you just get up and you're, pass the part. It's my turn. Because you paid to play after them, but you don't tell them. So then when the TV goes over, they're like, oh, it's your time. And you're like, yeah, we could have all been playing for 4 hours together, but you just be stupid. So you know what I'm saying? You can watch us now. You can watch us now. You can. I think I did that. You, my friend, can watch us play the game. Yeah, but yeah.
I remember doing that once. At least I remember doing that at least once.
No, that, you know what I'm saying? Long throat is a powerful thing, you know. Long throat.
Long throat.
You should give me when you had the chance. Yeah.
Oh man,
Well,
it was a learning process.
Man, I haven't thought about that for a long time.
Oh man. That's why this podcast exists. Bring back such fun, crazy memories. So, still staying in Benin City. Another thing about I believe that's when your creative juices began, or your like the awesome Roger Robinson likes to say, you're becoming a creative citizen. You began to explore your creative citizenship. It was in Benin City that it began, right?
You know what? I would say yes, actually, because so I think I'm not sure if this is kind of like specific to Nigerianness, but I see it in a lot of Nigerians. So I'm just going to say it's a Nigerian thing. Like, we thrive in conflict. I think, you know, in every Nigerian is an Igbo man, and Igbo are absolutely the best in, like, you know, I'm coming up with a creative solution to predicament. You know, it's like, when I was in secondary school, I hated every English teacher apart from one, an Irishman called Mr. Isid. And Mr. Isid had really pushed me, right, to like, not in the kind of like, oh, push me like, because you know, all the rest, they push you with koboko. They whip you and then suddenly you get better because you don't want to get koboko. But Mr. Isid
that's why I lost interest in literature.
Yeah, like Mr. Isid was the only person who didn't use humiliation. He just used encouragement. He used to put stars in our books if we got 10 out of 10. And that really really pushed me. And by the time when I used to do it, you know, he gave praise out so liberally that in my head, you know what I'm saying? When you're not used to getting it, and then someone gives it so much, you get a weird kind of balance, like you didn't earn it, and so you don't really pay attention to it. So as much as I appreciated him, I didn't really kind of pay attention to the fact that he was trying to kind of like bulk me up and give me a lot of encouragement. So when I got my next English teacher, who was again a Nigerian, a Benin man, who again, overeducated motherfucker, who didn't achieve, he didn't become the next Wole Soyinka, and he decided to take it out on his students, right? Yeah. He told us to write a letter. So I wrote this letter. Now here's the thing. I did not pay attention to what I was doing when I wrote this letter. I just wrote a normal letter. I just wrote like, you know, oh, okay, cool. This is person, blah, blah. I sent it off, you know, to be marked. He gave me a 0 out of 10 and said that I stole this letter from somewhere else. Wow. Now, you tell me the letter is bad, I would have been like, okay, the letter is bad because I didn't even know what I did. You tell me the letter, you know, it could be better. Of course, anything can be better. But you tell me I stole it. Hey, I chased this man down. I said, prove to me that I stole this letter. You have to show me where I took it because I came up with everything. And then, you know, he was like, suddenly he went from, oh, you stole the letter to, you are being disrespectful to your elders. Punish me. But you know, when he told me to kneel down, hands up, close my eyes. Even then, I'm there kneeling down, hands up, close my eyes. I'm like, I'm good at this. He saw I was good. That's why. He just didn't think I was capable of doing this, right? So from that point, I didn't really focus. I mean, I was still in kind of like Nigerian brain, which is I'm going to become a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer because I have to make money. But part of my brain was kind of like, if I wanted to, I can do this. And I carried that all into London until I got my opportunities.
That was very important that you caught that early.
Not early enough.
Well, I think that's where a lot of us who grew up in that society tend to have that conflict. I mean, someone like me, way back in Nigeria, I know I had an uncle who, that guy, we never got along. He was an uncle via marriage to my aunt, and the guy didn't like me. Just to be honest, there was no way the guy liked me. But once in a while, the guy recognized that I knew what I was talking about when it came to sports. He knew I was talking about current affairs. So and he was retired from the state, River State, from the defunct River State Broadcasting Services. But government owed him pension, so they were always fighting in court with their group that they never paid. And then he got his big break in Bielsa's state newspaper. They made him in charge of that, and then it just went to his head. Like, he got access to money now, so babes, because this guy was trying to fight with me over any girl I was chasing and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I don't know what his plan is. But one day he just like woke up out of the blue and said, I'm going to the new River State Broadcasting Services, and my friend is in charge of a program. He's going to put you on the radio. I said, what? He said, yeah, I'm taking you to the radio station. But it didn't occur to me then that this guy has the network. He has the connections. He can put me. He recognized that I have the talent, and he wants me to be in broadcasting. So but he was always attacking me because everything I did was like, you're bad, you're a bad boy, you're always insulting me. So why is this guy going to be the one to give me an opportunity? So I ran away. On the day he was supposed to take me, I disappeared. I said, no, This guy is probably going to embarrass me. Now I can look back and say, I understand. It was a network opportunity. He had an opportunity he was creating, but this guy always treated me bad. So there's no way I could put those two together and say he was creating an opportunity at the same time. Because this is a guy who, when your elder is coming back from work, and you go pick up his bag, take his bag, like welcome home kind of thing. If he has money, when he has money, he's not gonna let you hold that bag. Hell no. He locked that bag. Carry everything. But I'm like, dude, we know you carry money. That's how we know you're carrying money, because the way he's gonna lock that bag is like hell. When a young woman shows up, then he's gonna relax, like, yeah, have the bag. I'm like, right, you just let the woman carry the bag. So how's that the person who's now one day out of the blue is just Raf, let's go to this radio station. My friend does a show. I think you'll be good on that show. I'm like, are you offering me a job? Is this an opportunity? I don't get it. But you've always insulted me. You've never said anything good about me. And then all of a sudden it's like, this guy knows sports. You should be on a sports show. How am I going to, my mind is not going to work.
How are you going to relate to that? How are you going to kind of take that?
It's decades later, I'm like, this is, okay, I get it, but he's dead now. So I'm like, oh, whatever.
No, I mean, I'm sorry, but like, there's a whole story about how older Nigerians, the way they treated younger Nigerians.
Oh yeah,
and that kind of inherited trauma that completely messed us up and made us, deal with. Just made us look at our relationship with them in a very, very skewed and a very, very antagonistic manner. Like, and that's only because of the relationship they had with their parents. And the idea of being able to say, you are good at this, let me help you do it. No, it's not like that. It's like, you want to be a footballer. You just want, you think you're kind of one goal. You're not kind of one goal. You think, I could do that. Look at me. I'm just a bus driver. You want to be kind of one goal. Stupid thing. And then 2 days later, he's like, I've got you a coach. You're playing for the Super Eagles. You're like, how did this happen? Where's the encouragement? Where's the chat in between? It's like my teacher, like, what I'm saying? It's like, instead of saying, oh my God, you did this well. Tell me how you did it. No, straight. It's a lie. It's a lie. You didn't do it. And yeah, man, I think if you're going to study what's it called, psychology in Nigeria, you will have so many subjects. Like,
way too many. You better be studying with like 5 people, because there's too much load. You
come with 2 heads, because one head is going to Bafuka by the end of it.
Oh, I'm telling you, because like I've mentioned this before on the podcast. Like when you talked about the cassettes, the videotapes. When I was getting a little bit older and I started discovering the videotapes we had in the house, I discovered that my brother had been recording Olympics. And I started watching the Olympics. So I see, 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters. I'm excited by this. And I'm even more excited than that, more than football. And all of a sudden, I think it was 1989, my elder sister asked me, I'm like 8, 9 years old. She asked me like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do I know about that age? I don't really know. I don't have anything finalized then. But I've been watching 100 Olympics for like 5, 6 days in a row. And what's the first thing I would say? I want to be a 100 meters or 200 meters athlete. I'm excited to say that. She says, okay. She's 16 years older than I am. She says, okay. And she walks away. And I go play with the kids, come back from playing that evening. The whole family is gathered in the living room. They call me. What do you say you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a 100 meters or 200 meters champion. I think I'll set a new world record. I can run faster than Carl Lewis. That was my man then. Ben Johnson. I'm just running my mouth. Do you know that is dropouts? People cannot go to university that run 100 meters or 200 meters. I said, okay, then I'll play football. I'll be better than Roger Miller, and I'll score more goals in the World Cup. And I'm just, this boy, you can't, they just start hitting me from all sides of, like, and I'm like, I was age 8 or 9. What did I know? I'm just a kid.
You know what I'm saying?
They just start shooting me down. And okay, if I catch you playing football, or if I catch you running, that's how the self-confidence just like defeated me. And I'm not saying I would have been the best player or anything, but that's how I literally, if they caught me playing, I got beat.
Yeah, I used to be a violinist when I was younger.
Wow, you know. And now I play football with the dads in my neighborhood, boys, for fun. And I'm having fun. I'm loving it. And people are like, oh man, you're good. I'm like, the Nigerian part of me makes me good, but you know, I stopped playing for over 20 years. Until one day I was an adult and said, why am I not playing? I want to have fun. And I don't care if I look good or not, but I'm just going to play. And I play. Fuck it. I'm just playing for fun. People say you're bad as a Nigerian. Yeah, whatever. And it's Nigerian for them that I'm bad anyway. But fuck it. I'm just having fun. I don't care what you say. And I love it. I'm having fun. But, you know, but I got bashed for it all these years. And guess what? It was when I was 17 or 18. My elder sister, I'm in her house. I'm doing dishes. And I have the sports radio on. And they're talking about the highest paid players in the world. And they mentioned that the highest paid player, this was 99 in Ibadan. And they said the highest paid player in the world was being paid £90,000 a week, British pounds a week. And she was like, oh my God, is it true? What about you? I thought you used to be crazy about football. You don't play anymore? Now, I don't subscribe to Eating Women. I've said this before. And in my mind, I literally like, pow! That's what I did. I like smashed her head with that place. Like, what the hell? Because I remember that meeting just flashed in my head when I was 8, 9 years old. She was the one that led the gang up to cuss me out for saying, and I was like, so you heard how much the highest paid player is being paid? Then that's why you want to just jump on me now? Like, you don't play anymore. Why don't you play? All you do, and you know what? I'll go back to washing the dishes. But, you just heard how much the highest paid player is being paid. So why aren't you playing?
Why aren't you playing? Yeah, no, I completely understand that, Jans. And
it's the same thing, because if somebody else, was it a violinist? You did the violin. Sorry, was it violin? You said you played.
Yeah. I played violin. My dad's, I mean, I could have been. Obviously, it's like I didn't have my own personal violin, so that pretty much kind of like that put a hole in everything. Like, if you can't go home and practice, then just
we don't consider that, though. We don't consider all those factors.
And obviously,
we just see that one violinist is making $1 million.
No,
hey, Joshua, you used to play violin when you were a child. Why did you stop? You stopped. Why did you stop? Why are you not playing? Oh, this guy. Well, you could have been making, look at your mate is making 1 million.
But you know what? One day I will find my mate and I will kill him. So no one can say my mate. One day I will find my mate. I will find him. When I'm like, you're my mate. Hey. Because I've been telling everybody you are not my mate, but you are my mate. You are going to die. I just kill you. Then I will never have to hear that again in my life. Your mate is doing what? Hey, my mate went to, you know, they got support from their parents.
Yeah. People skip all those parts. You know, when I was in Ibadan and after I took my first WAEC, I didn't do good in my first WAEC. I didn't do good in my second either. But there was a guy who took his first WAEC and he got 8. No, out of the 8 subjects, he got 7 A's and 1 B. And he jumped in front of a train and took his life.
Oh.
Because he was afraid to go home. I think he lived in one of the nearby towns. And it was on the news. People were calling in like, "Oh, what is wrong with that child? What's wrong with that boy? Yeah, what kind of these children? All this is it in America? Does it think this is America? Like, and then I was like, what is wrong with the boy too? I was like, I would have died. I only got 2 A's in my result, and I couldn't go home because I knew they were going to cuss me out because everybody in my family obviously got 8 A's. Nobody got one A. Although the person who cussed me out the most, I will find out later, like 5 or 6 years later, that himself and my elder sister went to university the same year. He was 40 years old.
Yeah, I didn't even know how many things I got, man. I think I got...
It's how many years later then I realized that, wait, why did that boy take his life? It was the way he has been talked to all these years. And when you start laying this example for them, and then you're not surprised that, oh, the kid reacted this way. Then people are like, oh, but why did he do it? I'm like, what did you tell the kid this is how it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
So like some people get mad at me now that I have a child, because I used to be the guy who said I will never have a child. And I found the right person to have a child. And it happened. So yeah, I have a child now. And they asked me, do you beat your child? I said, for what? Why? What will I gain if I beat my child? Oh, you're in Nigeria, you don't beat your child. You've changed into an American. This guy become a white guy.
Yeah.
Said, no.
Well, see White Peking, they becomes president of America. How many black Peking became president?
I'm telling you.
I'm sorry.
Why is that
white American? How many American Peking become president? They become prime minister. They become engineer. They become basketballers. They become. I'm sorry, like Olajuwon. If his parents, if he had like proper Nigerian, not Nigerian American, if he had proper Nigerian parents, if Olajuwon was in Nigeria and was playing basketball in Nigeria, do you think his parents would have let him become a basketballer?
Hell no.
Doctor, lawyer, engineer, basketballer, really?
Accountant.
You are accountant. You are bouncing a ball. You are bouncing a ball up and down. That's your job. That's the job you want to do. Which family meeting are you going to tell everybody that you bounce ball up and down?
Like what's your son basketball in university?
You know what I'm saying? Like, which kind of university teach you how to bounce ball up and down? Oh yeah, you're going to study how to up and down.
Going to university to become accountant. Okay, petroleum engineer.
Petroleum engineer.
Yeah.
See, your mate is petroleum engineer. You are going to learn how to dunk. You are going to dunk. I bet dunk your homework, Jare.
What is that? What can you do with that? You can't do anything with that. Until they see somebody, you bought motor, you bought that kind of car, beat house with that's what I'm talking about. It changes.
God is good.
It's so crazy. I'm in Port Harcourt, I see I forgot her name. She was I think she's retired now. She used to be in the WNBA, bought big car for her family and all that. That's when it's like, oh, okay, now it's cool for women to play basketball. Otherwise, why was she playing basketball? Why is she not doing? I'm like, when do you guys go learn all this? Until what's her name? Won Miss World, the Nigerian girl that won the Miss World 99 or 2000. Beauty pageants, all they were considering on is why are they showing bikinis? Why you get naked? And I'm like, but in the village, what are women wear? When we're doing our dances, what do they wear? We don't complain about that. That's not different. That's different. I'm like, yeah, the way we just create that relationship to push people down is, but it's something that we've passed on from one person to another. So like sometimes it's why, when I attend some webinars or some seminars and it's supposed to be all pro-African and they're like, oh, everybody go back home. And so people are speaking, I bring this topic up, like, okay, so if we say everybody go back home, like, so do all this stuff stop, or do we push all this stuff aside, or do we address these issues of how we talk to our younger ones? Do we, is it gone? Is it out the window now? Or, we'll talk about that later on. Okay, because you know what's coming. If we can't talk about that now, then we know the people we already discriminated against, that is cool to discriminate against. We haven't gotten to that portion already. Because while I was in Benin, that's the first time I ever met LGBTQ people. I didn't even know they existed because my number one job was to pray against them. Now it makes sense why I was given that task. in the family prayer. Send them all to hell, burn in hellfire. And I realized that now it makes sense why that was part of the prayer points, because there was somebody in the family who was gay. And then when a gay man comes to the house one day and he looks more feminine than every man I've met, and I'm like, why you talk like a woman? I'm a teenager now. That's the first thing I say to him, and he's laughing because it's like, this guy doesn't know who's in his house. And I'm like, ah. And when I tell my elder sister, of course, that one's like, shut up, don't talk about that. And then when I find out, oh, we have somebody in the house, so I'm sending you to hellfire. Oh no. Oh my God, I don't want to send you hellfire anymore. I want to change my prayer point. And the family is like, okay, yes, you can change your prayer point. Jesus will save him, but we'll send another person to hellfire. Nah, I don't feel comfortable doing that anymore. Let's can we? I want to save every other person too. No, we'll burn every other person and then we'll save this one in the house. Yep, I guess that's where the cracks. That's how my cracks began with the whole. In school, I was going to Word of Faith. It's a Christian school. The day we do home economics, they said bring pictures to make a collage. So I bring the gay guy had all the magazines in the house, Cosmopolitan and all that stuff. So I took one of his magazines, cutting pictures out. This teacher was walking by. What are you looking at? You're looking at pornography. There's a woman in a bikini. How do you even know what pornography looks like, by the way? And then he takes it from me. You bad boy. You bad boy. You're lucky I don't want to beat you. And he takes the magazine away. So I'm like, how am I going to do my homework? So I go with the teacher. And he's like, why are you still here? I said, I want my magazine back. I need the pictures. There are women, there are men, people in clothes and outfits. I want to cut the pictures out. So I need to take it out. He's like, these are bad pictures. I'm like, how is it bad? This is a Christian school. Okay, so we can look at people in pictures. There are naked people in this picture, in this magazine. How do you know? What have you been looking at, sir? You want to tell us what you've been looking at? You are challenging. You don't have respect for your elders. Then that start throwing that in there. But that's how they just, be beating us down. And then it becomes, people can't challenge authority. And then later on you start finding out people got raped in schools, people got abused because they use all that. Don't challenge your authority. Don't this and don't that. And then you start, oh, wait, this was going on at the same time while I was in the school. I was just lucky because some of us accepted, some of us chose not to, and then this was all part of it. Because that's how they make it part of the language. Don't challenge, don't accept it, accept the beating. And then you start seeing because it's all part of this NSAS too, because that's the NSAS too, it's part of the language they use too. They beat you with that. Don't challenge, accept it, accept, toe the line. And that's why it's important that we have people like you who are creative, because you guys surpassed the BS and started challenging it, and went ahead. Look, people like me, it will take a while. I will one day say yes. I say no, yes, no, yes, no. But I fought against it, but it still take me a while to finally accept that. I was going to challenge it. But we are glad we finally made it out. So
yeah. Well,
it's an ongoing struggle.
Making it out is that's a subjective term, but I know what you mean.
But I mean making it out of the bubble, not physically out of.
Yeah, see what you mean. Cool.
Because I have people in there who are still doing the work on the ground, and I support them all the time and I encourage them, because it's not easy, as we say. As many people say, oh my easy. But before I dive into the UK, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Hi everyone, your host Raphael Harry here. I can't believe we've gone past our 1-year anniversary of doing White Label American. I've had the privilege of speaking with some amazing people, sharing their modern day immigrant stories. And you've allowed this Nigerian immigrant to share parts of his immigrant journey through this podcast. Also, one of my goals of this podcast is breaking down artificial walls that keep people from getting to understand each other. Based on your wonderful feedback over the last year, I think we have done a decent job in breaking down some of those walls. We would like to continue and expand on this mission, but we need your help. I've had an amazing time creating and producing episodes for this show largely on my own. We have a lot of ideas for new and exciting content to expand upon the mission, but we need direct support from you, our listener, which is why we have created a White Label American Patreon page where you can make a one-time donation or become a sustaining contributor where you can get access to exclusive content, help me interview upcoming guests by submitting questions, and even have the chance to sit down with me for a one-on-one conversation, either virtually or in studio. So if this podcast means something to you, and if you really love this show, think about becoming a sustaining contributor and donating by going to patreon.com/whitelabelamericanpod. Thanks for listening and for the privilege of your company. Okay, so we are back. Welcome back. And all right, so now let's dive into the UK. So you left Niger. Some people get mad at me when I say Niger. But, I'm like, please, don't be mad. Get mad at Buhari. Don't be mad at me. So you left Niger in 1999. That's when I left Ibadan, funny enough, officially, for Port Harcourt. I became a Pitakwa boy then. But I came back to Benin in 99 for, I came into the 2000s and I went to the Hausa's church for end of year service. For a reunion of my boys and girls. I couldn't recognize the girls. I hadn't seen them since 96. They are all changed. They're all grown. But they all recognized me, funny enough. That's when I knew I was a little bit popular. So on your arrival to the UK, did you go back to your former neighborhood or was it a new place you moved to?
No, yeah, we went back to Hackney. We went back to Hackney, East London. And I was there for a while. Because I had to do my A-levels. I don't even know why I did but apparently it was like I arrived and I was like, oh, I did my WAEC, I passed, I got, I can go into any university, and everyone was like, no, these are the right stats. You need to kind of like do, 2 years of A-levels. So I did 2 years of A-levels, which was fun. And then I took a year out and gap year. And then I studied at the University of Bolton. So I had to travel down to Bolton, close to Manchester. I did a year there. Then I came back to London to do a year, to do my remaining 2 years at the University of Roehampton.
So what was the first shock that you had? So now, was it like a reverse culture shock or returning back to the UK?
Reverse culture? No. I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. I remember going to... Because the thing was, I had not been to Lagos for a very long time. So there's a lot of the UK kind of looked like a cleaner Lagos. Yeah. In many respects. So that kind of tempered it a bit. The weather, right, and a lot of the cobblestones was exciting to see. The only real culture shock I would say I had was when I went to Leicester Square. Because you go to Leicester Square, Piccadilly Circus, that's the brightest part of London, really. It's all just proper high street, commercial, fucking capitalism at its glitziest. It's like someone decided to make a miniature Times Square. That's what it looked like. It was just bare colors, heavy granite, fountains, people, girls in mini skirts and everything. And I think that was the first one I had. There was another one that happened to me because I worked as a glass collector in a bar. That was my first job. Glass collector in a bar called Strawberry Moons. And they got me on a Thursday night. And Thursday night was the LGBT night. And so, I'm there picking up glasses. And then there's this girl she gives me a glass and she's like, you look cute. Now, I got a massive hard on in it because I'm like, girls just say I'm cute. I went from Christian boy, no people doesn't even talk to girls. So there's a fine girl, short hair. She's telling me I'm cute. So I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna get a number. Next thing I know, the girl's kissing another girl. I'm like, what the? And then I notice everybody's kissing everybody, but it's only guys kissing guys and girls kissing girls. I'm like, oh shit. I mean, that was a real shock. I mean, that was a real moment where I had seen a lot of LGBT cinema because my dad owned films. I'd read a lot about it. I still had a lot of homophobia that I had to kind of unravel because I had come from a very homophobic environment. And so there was a lot of that homophobia that was already ingrained in me. But to my credit, I did still believe like live and let live and everybody deserves a chance to be happy. I just hadn't confronted it. So for me, it was just, I remember I used to just stand and stare at people snogging. Like even the idea of snogging, I hadn't seen people snogging in real life before. Like I had never seen two people in face snogging. So for me, it was just like, oh, is that how the lips work? Oh, is that how the tongues work? Oh, guys kissing guys. Does he like the mustache? You know what I'm saying? How is he dealing with it? Oh my God, wow, this is all interesting. Am I aroused? I'm not aroused. Why am I not aroused? Oh my God, it's like, that guy looks like a girl. That girl looks like a guy. I'm so confused. So yeah, that was it wasn't as big a shock as I expected it to be, but it was one nonetheless. I think the biggest one was just I had a proper kind of like, boy stands in the middle of massive Times Square and the camera pans around him moment when I first got to Leicester Square. Because again, also it was in Christmas, so all the lights were on, all the streets were decorated with lights.
Yeah.
And it was fucking cold. So yeah.
I think even I was a bit lucky that even though I was I was also raised in the homophobic culture, I was also breaking out of it. So by the time I left Nigeria, I now lost someone who was a little bit close to me, and the argument had been over, two girls who were caught making out at University of Owerri, Federal University of Owerri, and they got expelled. And the girls decided to sue the university, and it was in the newspapers. And this girl, she was like what we call Ron's girls, dating regular dating of married men. And I had covered for her one time when one of the married men's wives came to look for her. So she was like, "Wow, how dare they have? How dare the girls be bold enough to sue university? They're lucky they didn't get beat up or killed or that kind of thing." And I was like, why are you even talking? You're the one who, if you're calling it a sin, I mean, you date married men. We all know you date married men. It's not like it's not an open secret, but we don't judge you for that. So couldn't we say, can we not apply? Is it not a sin? I thought if you're going by the Bible, what you're doing is sin. And she's like, no, it's different because I'm only committing a lesser sin. There's the highest. I was like, where is this ranking of sin? Where did this ranking of sin come from? And that became a big argument. So she actually got some neighbors like, I think this guy is gay. I think he's gay because he's siding with these girls. And I'm like, it didn't make sense to me. So it became a big argument. And she's like, I won't talk to you anymore. And this was like a few months before I would leave Nigeria. She didn't know I was about to leave Nigeria because, back then you don't tell people you're leaving. you don't want any bad luck. So you don't say that you're leaving. So we couldn't rectify it. But even when I arrived in the States, by then the gay member of the family, he was already in the States. So my very first weekend, he took me to a gay club in DC. And even no matter how your mind, even if you have the mindset of let gay people leave, let gay people do their thing, I still wasn't at that level of gay people have a right to get married. But I said that gay people have the right to exist. But I don't think I was I was of the mindset that gay people had the right to get married. So, but he took me to a gay club and was like, other drinks to me, and I was like, I'm in a club in America. Yeah, I'm happy. And then he's like, guess you like this babe? I'm like, I guess. I'm not gonna say no. It's like everybody here is looking at you like fresh meat. I'm like, yeah, I'm fresh in America. He's like, yeah, but have you noticed something? I was like, what? You ain't noticed that all the girls are with girls, all the boys are with boys. I'm like, oh, well, what I mean? He's like, it's a gay club. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
why you bring me here? That was the first thing I said. Why you bring me here, man? Like, I just wanted to experience something. That's when I was saying in my mind, like, oh, so he's really gay. I guess in Nigeria, because in Nigeria, he would say, okay, I'm not gay today. So I guess for his protection, he would deny it sometimes. And then sometimes he would come out and say, I'm gay. And later I say, I'm not. But now I was like, oh, he's really gay. That's the first time I said he was really gay. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess ain't no problem. I'm still going to drink. You pay for the beer? Okay, I'll drink the beer then. And
Hmm.
but after that, it wasn't an issue for me. But sometimes I would still like revert back. And then by the time it was announced that gay marriage was legal, by then I was like, I'm cool with it. It's not. I don't have an issue. But I still had to learn the language to use around gay people, and it took me a little bit to get comfortable. But there were still steps I had to take, and I learned that not everything was 100% with me, but there was still some internal homophobia that still
Hmm.
existed within me.
Yeah, man. Like I think there needs to be a space that what's it called, people like myself and you and who grew up in the 80s and possibly the 90s can sort of deprogram a lot of the homophobia that they have grown up with. And I don't think that space should be inhabited by it shouldn't be up to people from the LGBT community to have to do that because they have to deal with our, trauma
Yeah.
just existing. So, they shouldn't be responsible. It's the same way I think like women shouldn't be the ones to educate men that, women should be treated with respect. Men should educate men that women should be, we should police ourselves. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the same way like white people should police themselves. They shouldn't be expecting black people to come and teach them.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, what's it called? Like, I've had a lot of ingrained sexism, and a lot of it that's been unraveled has been due to other men who've kind of like challenged me and questioned me and pulled me up and told me. I remember the first time I used the F word, it was a straight guy who was like, "Yo, you don't say that," and I was like, "No, Eminem said it." And it's like, "So what? Doesn't matter. You're not Eminem, and even if Eminem said it, Eminem's a dick. Don't say it." And it was because I had someone who was straight, who's was like me.
On it and corrected
You understand? Yeah, and was willing to kind of like stick his neck out and just tell me straight up, "Yo, you don't talk like that." That it not immediately, but it did give me pause to talk. Like, actually, okay, so this guy has called me out. Maybe this isn't a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point that you make because all these things that I experienced will help me by the time I would join the Navy. That wasn't like on my mind, but I joined the Navy when like the last year or two before Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. So like I took part in the survey that asked for the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, like how was I comfortable with Don't Ask, Don't Tell being repealed? And I'm like, hell yeah, it's not disturbing me. But I got to work with somebody who was gay and he didn't hide it when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was like the last moment before it got repealed. And I was a supervisor by then, and somebody like tried to make noise about it. Like this guy is not like my boss actually called me and said, the guy we sent to your shop, there's something about him. He's acting. I said, I know what you're trying to say, and I'm not going to say it. But whatever you're thinking is, I'm pretty sure it is what you're thinking. But let's see how it works. We need to see if he can do the job, and if he can do the job, then I'm fine. He's like, okay, if you have any problem, let me know. And I'm like, whatever. And the guy got to be one of the best people who worked under me. He was a white guy. I was expecting him to give me hell. He didn't. If I told him this is what I need you to do, he did. He did everything. And he performed. But there were people who like, hey, I don't feel safe going to the bathroom with this guy. I said, well, why? You expect me to just jump on you? Like, what's he going to do? What is he going to do? Like, what exactly is it? And like the older guy who came to fight with him, they actually had a verbal sparring match one day. He was retired, but we have some retired contractors who work with us. And he was like, in my time, you people like you need to talk like a man. You need to talk like a man. I'm like, what? So I had to call him aside. I said, hey, what's the problem? He said, you don't walk like a man. You don't talk like a man. I said, first of all, we have a job to do, and he does the job. He's one of the best performers here. So the job specification doesn't say act like a man or act like a woman. It says do the job, and he's doing the job.
Access to the job.
So
Exactly, yeah.
what exactly is your problem? Well, he don't sound. What exactly is your problem? He don't sound. What exactly is your problem? Is he doing the job or is not doing the job? What? Okay, I'm going to report him to the master chief. He's my buddy. Okay, go report him. Because the master chief is still going to come to me and ask, what is your opinion on this guy? Can he do the job or can he not do the job? Is he saving us money or is it costing us money? And if I say it's costing us money, then he's done. If I say it's not costing us money, then you're the one who's done. So what's it going to be? And he's like, oh man, he's adjusting his toupee because he was wearing a toupee. And I was like, okay, all right, bye, get out. But after I did that, it was like something twitched in me and said, you stood up for somebody who normally you wouldn't have stood up for that person. You would have sided with the people who were toxic to the guy. And did the world end? No. So maybe you can move on from there, and and there are bigger things to focus on. And I told the guy, like, yeah, don't come after my people like that again. Just we are here to do a job. We got to focus on the job, and I don't like you coming after my people.
Don't come after my peoples. Go on.
That's it. It's as simple as that. But I think the guy saw that I stood up for him, and because we had a team, and I'm standing up for the whole team. It's not just one person I'm standing up for. And the more people do that for the rest of the team, because you stand for one, then the rest of the team, okay, we have a guy who stands, the boss who stands for us. We're going to stand for the boss too. And it becomes something that it's not individuals doing one thing, because that's not how we're taught in boot camp. But this guy talk like a man. So I'm like, what do you mean talk like a man? He's doing the job. He walks like a man, looks like a man. So what exactly is? Did you try to sleep with him and he didn't act like a man with you, or what?
Does it even matter if he walks, talks, and looks like a man? If he does the job, that's straight up. That's the only thing that matters.
I didn't even know in the Navy that women could get breast augmentation. It was a girl that told me that. So when someone was complaining, like, "Oh, I think trans military people don't deserve to have their penis surgery and all that," and I was like, "So how do you feel about women having their breast sizes, the breast augmentation?" He was like, "Oh, really? They can do that?" I was like, "Oh, by the way, you know that the biggest surgery the Navy pays for is for men who have their dick don't work no more, so they're the." He was like, "Oh," I was like, "Okay, let's pull up." So I pulled up the numbers, and he said, "Yeah, it's men who are suffering trauma, and yeah, they can't perform anymore. So the military pays for men to have their surgery done." And it's like, now the argument is like, okay, well, I understand about that, but there's people. I'm like, there's not these people. If somebody was willing to put their life online for their country, it don't matter if they're LGBT.
Mm-hmm. True.
You just shut up. Let them do whatever. Just shut up, because they're willing. I wouldn't have done that if I was them. To be honest, I wouldn't. I don't want to put up. I can't put up with that stress. But they're willing to. So you shut up, because now you see that men are benefiting. Because men still benefit the most. We are the ones who benefit the most at the end of the day. So the guy, like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm like, hey, they're not even old men." I'm like, no, they're not old men. They're young men who are having this surgery. When we take up all the space, and then we still shout at the minorities. And then we're like, "Oh, I did not know." I'm like, "Now you know, so you don't even have an excuse. Get out, get out of my office."
True.
I made enemies, but it was fun. That was a good time. So, how did you get started with your music?
How did I get started with music? Well, I was doing poetry for a while, and I used to run a night called Po Jazzy, and we had booked a guy called Dan Lesac. Booked a guy called Scroobius Pip, and he did a poem called "Thou Shalt Always Kill." And then, as he had performed it at our poetry event, it went down very, very well. And I think a week later, because MySpace was a thing back then, he loaded it up on MySpace. He had done a mix with a guy called Dan Lesac. They called it Dan Lesac versus Scroobius Pip, and it took off. It took off really hard. People just really loved it, and then the video as well was was just so irreverent and cool. And I remember at the time, when he did that, I was like, oh, this is cool. I'd like to do something like this. And I had recorded a track called This Is London. Where my brother had remixed a song by a New York Afrobeats band called Antibalas. He remixed them. He made like a little hip hop kind of thing out of it. And I did some poetry over it. And I remember I thought it was crap. I played it to another poet, A.F. Harold, who said, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I really love this, And that gave me the confidence to stick up on MySpace. And yeah, the response was quite good. And then, we carried on like that until I kind of felt I wanted a live band. I wanted a live experience. And that was when I started looking for members to join what eventually became the band Benin City.
Oh. So, was there any other name that you thought to go with, or was
at one point someone mentioned electricity, so I said, hey, let's just call it Benin City. No one knows what Benin City is, and if we think of a better name, we'll change it. But no one ever changed it, so it became Benin City. Yeah, that's how that band started. What's it called? All my bands have all been kind of like accidental, just kind of like by the by, things that just happen randomly. And then on the other hand, my own dogged insistence that I don't let it end. I don't want it to fail, or I have to chase this particular pathway down to wherever the end may be. So started Benin City. I was like, well, this is me. I'm gonna have to do this. And then I wrote one song, which was like an R&B song, which at the time Benin City was like a Afro punk band, and so it didn't really fit. So I asked a friend, oh, do you know any pianists? Because I think I really like this song I've written, and I'd like to kind of like perform it. And then me and him did it for a bit, and he introduced me to someone called Andy. Andy came to my house. We walked to a couple of songs. We liked it, and then suddenly that became another band called Hugh. And then while I was doing Benin City, I had we did one track with a friend introduced me to a production group called LV, and because we wanted to kind of like get them to remix one of our tracks, and one of them was like, oh, you write poetry, do you want to record some of your poems? So I recorded a poem called Early Mob, and I'm not a label manager. I heard that poem, I was like, yo, you guys need to make an EP, and that became LV and Joshua Idehen. And then, recently this year, I released an EP called Calabash, which was the result of me meeting a dear friend of mine, Alabaster. And I just walked up to him. I was like, yo, we need to work together. And then we made 6 tracks and put that out.
Nice. So how do you maintain the chemistry of working with different bands?
I think for me, it has been collaboration and sort of like I've achieved more when I've held on to less. And that's very hard for me because I'm very confident about my ideas. I fight for my ideas. I push for my ideas. If I think something's a good idea, I push for it, and I fight hell or high water. But the good thing is that I've managed to work with people who are just as confident about their ideas. So really there's a big clash. And after that clash, something great comes out, because what we end up coming up with is an amalgamation of our ideas. And, as I've grown older, I've sort of, I've enjoyed more that collaborative spirit. And I found a lot more creativity and a lot more production has come out of it, because, other people see themselves in the work, and I enjoy other people's. I get to enjoy other people's visions as well. That's usually it. It's like it's not really that hard to work with someone else. You just have to be really confident that there's a reason why you're working with them. There's a reason why you're in the room with them, and B, you have to just kind of let go a lot. Like try not to let your low self-esteem and your ego kind of blind you to the overall product.
I agree with that. It's something that I apply to myself when I approach other podcasters and other podcasters approach me. Yeah. Except if they are hoteps, and I'm like, yeah, no, sorry, we ain't working together. if you're advocating for the black man must have the black woman beneath him and death to gay people, I'm like, yeah, sorry, bro, we're not on the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, what's it called? That's I think, well, it's a standard. You always have to kind of work with people who are of your level. You have to be very, very specific about that. Like, I've never, if I don't enjoy someone's politics, it's impossible for me to work with them. That much I know.
Yep. In the beginning, I was like, before I got into podcasting, that was one thing that from my days in Nigeria was one thing that was difficult for me to say no, how to say no. But it was one thing I got to learn while in the Navy, because I had to say no to a bunch of higher ups.
Yeah,
without saying no. So it was like saying fuck you to them. And then I learned how to say it in a nice way with a smile. And I figured out, I can take that. So once I got out into the civilian world, and I was like, all right, I'm no longer wearing the uniform. Saying no was no longer a problem. I had the right to say no, and I said no. And like now, I don't respect my daughter's no. She's only 2 years old, and she tells me no. I said, yeah, okay, yeah. But except when it's time to change your diaper, then sorry, your butt has to be clean.
If you can start, if you can start, the way I see it is like, if you can crawl, you can decide where you go. If you can stand, you can decide where you sit. If you if you can go to the toilet by yourself, you can decide what you put on. Right?
Well, she can't go to the toilet by herself.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you only give them as much, as much self-control as they are responsible for. Yeah. It's like, you know what I'm saying? If you can't turn on the stove, then I don't trust you with fire.
So now, for the long term, are you based in Sweden? That's another migration journey for you.
No, I'm based here. This is where I'm at, Gonna be married soon.
Congrats.
Thank you. Gonna be married soon, and just basically at the moment, just trying to sort of my Swedish credentials and get that all in order. Like, I'm hoping to have this place as my home, as my first home, and I'll go back to UK every now and then. But yeah, I'm gonna be living here.
Do you mind me asking what city?
Stockholm.
Oh, Stockholm. All right. I have Malmo is a city that I've been invited to for like forever. I have a good friend.
You have been invited to. You are now invited to Stockholm, Mikade. Like, if you want to come through, let your brother know.
I'll come. You're offering to bake for me, or do I have some great cooking skills too? If you provide ingredients,
I will bake. I will make rice and stew. I made my first. There's a difference between when you cook, and when you cook something that somebody else can look at and eat.
No. Okay. No. Now that you've mentioned that, let's just dive into your favorite dish. What's your favorite?
No, the thing is, like, I can't. My favorite dish is whatever my mom cooks. So let's not even go there. Yeah, the thing is, like, right. When you're watching MasterChef.
Yeah.
You know how they make food like it's a work or like it's a painting.
Yeah.
This weekend I did that for the first time.
Oh wow!
Like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I've not
caramelized the what's it called, the salmon, and then I stuffed the mashed potato into one of those, like, those baking things that they used to kind of like put the icing on top and make a design. I did that so I could make the mashed potato come out in a kind of swirly design. I did that, and I made I didn't drench the asparagus in too much oil, and then I put a little dollop of mayonnaise in the center, so it looked like a proper like a visual piece. And the thing is that it's something that I've kind of like always been concerned about, because a lot of my dishes, they're just like It's like pop, It's like just like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it just fell.
I'll still eat it though. That's me. I'm a foodie. So I eat food from everywhere. I don't judge. I eat. I don't discriminate. That's me. Yeah, I eat everything.
If you ever want to come down, that space is available for you.
All right, I appreciate that, man. So, to second last question, what can we look forward to coming from Joshua Idehen?
I've got several projects that are coming out. Like I've got several projects that I've been worked on. I have a lot more that I would have finished if I wasn't doing this interview, but I'm constantly working. Next year there's more from Benin City. Hopefully a Hugh album, a couple of other projects back and forth. Maybe something from Calabash. Yeah, man, I've just got a lot of stuff that I need to kind of finish and get out, but I'm working little by little, small.
All righty. So, final question: what would you like to leave the audience with?
Sorry.
Could be. What would you like to leave the audience with? Could be a quote. Could be a line from your favorite book, song, whatever. You are poet from one of your poems.
Whatever. I am going to leave everyone with something, the cheesiest thing I can think of, because I want to finish this conversation the way I started it. And I started it with my Nigerian voice, and everybody knows Nigerians are the cheesiest people on the planet. So this one is a cheesy saying that has been passed down from generation to generation. They say, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. But today is a gift. That's why we call it the present.
This guy, you're too much. Joshua, you're too much. My brother, I can't thank you enough, man.
No worries.
Please plug yourself in. Guys,
you can look for me on Twitter at Benin Citizen. That's BENIN Citizen. Or you can find me on Instagram by my name, Joshua Idehen, at Joshua Idehen. Don't ask me why they're different. I'm stupid. I like to make things difficult for myself. My band, Benin City. In fact, you know what? Like, if you find me on Instagram, you would find all my other projects from there. If you Google the name Joshua Idehen, stuff will turn up. I'm a poet. I'm a musician. Like, my stuff is good. If you don't like it, it's because you're racist. What can I say?
His stuff is great.
I
can play it all day long. I play it all day long. It's fantastic. You move your body.
If you don't like it, you're a normal human being.
You lie down, you shake body, you dance, you do everything. You shake, dance, everything. And it's true. If you don't like it, you're racist. That's as simple as it. Oh, my brother, thank you very much. I'll put all the links in the show notes so people can find you, and I'll tag you on when I post this on social media.
So, thank you, man.
Thank you again. All right, and thank you all for joining us. Catch you at the next episode, and thank you for the pleasure of your company. All right. Thanks for listening to White Label American. If you enjoyed the show, we'll appreciate if you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. If you have any questions, comments, or have someone who will be a good guest on the show, or you want to be on the show, send us a message at whitelabelamerican@gmail.com. And make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at White Label American. Thank you for your support.